Mary Taggart. We have David Hall. We have Elisa Hurd. We have Jim Smith. We have Associate Michael Mercier and Sandy Slavin. And when we took the roll call, one member was missing. Kenny Baptiste was killed in a hit-and-run motorcycle accident on Friday night. At our last meeting, he commented how much he was enjoying his motorcycle this year. He was riding with others, and it made all the difference to him. At the previous meeting, we got to see him enjoy a homemade oatmeal cookie. Not on his diet, but he certainly enjoyed that cooking. Kenny was a special caring person. He knew the town. He watched over its wetlands for 18 years. He will be missed. I will miss his knowledge and his guidance. Mr. Bichette, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, I did. And I'd first like to start by, offering my condolences to Kenny's family and many friends at this difficult time. And as Sandy mentioned, Kenny had been on the commission for 18 years, and I was working here when Kenny first came on board the commission back in 2002, so I've known him for a little while. Kenny was the most senior member of our current commission in terms of both his experience and his time served on the commission. And he spent several years as the chairman of the commission as well. Through the time that I knew Kenny, he was always a good-natured, positive person, and somebody that I knew that I could talk to and rely on if there was ever a situation that I needed to deal with or address. He was definitely very helpful to me over the years. He taught me a lot about the town through his own experiences and through the many stories he told, and he had plenty of stories to tell. He definitely was just a great personality. He also had a lot of knowledge about construction practices, cranberry bog activities. So he was really a great resource, and I really appreciated his insight as I was dealing with things in town, certainly things that I wasn't as knowledgeable about. So that was a great help. Again, he was a great person to work with on the commission and to know as a friend, and his presence will be missed at these meetings and generally around town. And I'm just very thankful that I've had a chance to know him. So thanks, Sandy.
Thank you. Does anybody else like to make a comment?
I would. I just want to say that I always found Kenny was available to help anybody on the committee. I think he also was always tried to be very fair to all the people who came up before us. I know I will miss Kenny and his support. And boy, lost a good one.
Yep.
Yes. So I would like to have a moment of silence as we remember Kenny, please. Thank you. The first thing on the agenda was member signature. Anything on that, Dave?
Oh,
Nothing really new on that at this point. I'm hoping between now and the next meeting in a couple of weeks' time, I'll try to get some more detail. But right now, things seem to be working out well, just operating the way we are. So, hopefully we'll be able to get back to normal meetings in the near future. But if not, if we can carry on this way and everybody's okay with it, that's fine. If we need to go to electronic signatures, if people would feel more comfortable with that, then we can go that route as well.
Okay. Okay, Elissa, you're up with the public hearings.
Oh, I am so lucky. Did you do a roll call?
Oh, I thought I did.
She
I called
did.
everybody's name.
Oh, I guess I wasn't listening.
I think she did.
Notice of public hearings pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6. The public hearing will be held on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 at 6:30 PM on the request for determination of applicability, Chuck Papineau, care of Excavations, Inc., LLC, Cross Ross, Messina.
Present.
He has not made the decision.
282 Central Street, East Bridgewater, Mass. 02333, to replace an existing railroad timber retaining wall located on Assessor's Map 38031-3, lot, these are something, 50D42 on 46 Beach Street, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. Is there anybody here for this hearing? Please identify yourself.
I'm Ross Messina with Excavation Incorporated, and I'm representing the homeowner, Chuck Papineau.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bichette will read to the project.
Sure. So this project site is at 46 Beach Street in the Swifts Beach area. And the project involves replacing a retaining wall within a coastal flood zone and within the buffer zone to a coastal beach. Existing timber retaining walls, approximately 100 feet in length, are to be removed, and a new block or poured concrete wall would be built in the same general location adjacent to the existing concrete pier foundation for the house. This will require some trench work in the location of the existing wall to create a base for the new wall. The site is within a velocity flood zone and in the buffer zone to a coastal bank and beach that exists on the other side of Beach Street. And there's also dwellings between this house and the beach as well on the other side of the street. Erosion control would be installed to contain the site during construction. I would recommend the approval of this project with a negative determination number 2.
Thank you, Ross. Is there anything you'd like to add to that comment?
With a negative determination number 2, could you just elaborate on that for me? Because I'm not familiar with the terminology.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that would mean that the project would be approved under this application.
Okay. And in terms of erosion control and what we need to provide to contain the site, is this something we would discuss at another time, or, how would we proceed?
Essentially, we would just want some silt fence maybe across the front, other than where you might have to access, just to contain things so they didn't spill out onto the road potentially. That's all.
Yeah, okay. No, I follow. That's what I was hoping to hear, and nothing, sometimes it gets a little wild. But thank you.
Okay.
Questions on the board? Mary?
No question.
David?
No, I don't have any questions, no.
Elissa?
I just wanted to comment that I think the question that Ross had was, what does -2 mean? And you can correct me if I'm wrong, -2 means that the project's in a flood zone, but that it's approved.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
-2 means.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Mike?
I'm good.
I do have a question, Ross. When you remove those timbers, how quickly will you be putting up the replacement wall in case it starts to fall down? The soil behind those,
It's probably going to be it's not going to sit wide open at all. We're probably going to jump right on that. So when we started looking into this, what I had done was sent an email to the building inspector to see what he thought, height requirements, this, that, and the other thing, because we're only retaining like 30, 32 inches of soil currently. And we just wanted to make a determination based on what he said as to what route we would pursue. And he said you needed to go through the RDA and this, that, and the other thing. We wanted to just make sure we weren't going to need to spend any money on engineering. But now that we can kind of make the decision whether we're going to go with cast in place or probably like a Versalock type retaining wall, where the homeowners are preferring the cast in place. So something like that. I mean, did I just lose you? Oh,
Nope.
So something like that would, the turnaround on that, I mean, to demo it and prep it for a small footing and a 2.5 foot tall retaining wall. I mean, they could do that in like 4 or 5 days.
I just hope, my
won't be
concern that, sorry.
It won't be exposed long. Like it's not going to wash in or wash away. Like it'll be secure.
It just would recommend that if you're going to do that, do it if there was no hurricane being forecasted. Wash away.
Absolutely.
Wait 1 second. Wait
Hey,
a minute.
Dave, can you point out where the wall is going to be in that air photo you have there?
It's
Yeah, these red lines right here
Okay.
are where the wall would be replaced. And in some spots, the wall is pretty low, and in other spots, as Ross mentioned, it might be 3 feet high, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So basically, it's just along the edge
I'm
of
in.
the foundation. So.
Huh?
What was that, Dave?
Is it basically right along the edge of the foundation then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the house is set up on structural concrete piers.
Okay.
Like the house is elevated and it just sits on the outer footprint of the house. So underneath it kind of looks like you're driving into a garage, but you're not. It's open to the air, you know what I mean? It's only like a little 3 foot high retaining wall, if that.
Gotcha.
Dave, can you close that? Maybe I can show you my picture.
Okay.
I don't know if this will work. Do you see what it looks like?
It's hard to tell.
See, that's the retaining wall.
Yeah,
No,
it's a little
Okay, but that's
tricky.
what it is. Just
Yeah, you can kind of see it there. It's just maybe 3, possibly 4 tiers of the timbers around the foundation, and some
Yeah.
along the edge of the driveway.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak for or against this project? I'm seeing none. What does the board want?
We close the hearing.
Thank you. I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Second by David. All in favor, Mary,
Aye.
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Andy. Yes, the hearing is closed.
And that I make a motion that we approve the project with a -2 and with hay bales placed. Am I?
Silk fence.
Silk fence.
Silk fence. Oh, good. Great.
Second the motion?
I have a second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, Mary,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Sandy. Yes, it is approved. So Ross, before you do anything, reach out to Dave Jet for the paperwork. All right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
You guys have a good night.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thanks.
please.
Next would be a notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. on the request for determination of applicability for Chuck Papineau, care. Is that I just did him, didn't I?
Yes,
Yeah, I just did him. We're up to Sarah King.
yes.
All right. So do
Yes.
I read it again? We're doing
Yep.
this request for
No.
determination for of applicability for Tara King, care of JC Engineering Inc., 2854 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, 02538, to demolish an existing garage and construct a new garage with a second-story in-law apartment located on Assessor's Map 28, Lot 28, 12 Little Harbor Road, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Is there anybody here for this project?
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Thank you. Mr. Bichette, your turn.
Yes, this project site is at 12 Little Harbor Road, and the project involves the construction of a garage addition within a coastal flood zone. An existing 24 by 30-foot garage is proposed to be removed, and a new 26 by 30-foot garage with in-law apartment is to be constructed in the same general location, and this is within flood zone AE elevation 15. There will be some grading around the proposed garage as shown on the plan. The work is not in the buffer zone to any other resource areas. The only question I did have was, is this going to tie into the existing septic system, which I believe it needs to, and if so, does that mean the system needs to be upgraded? So that's really my only question on the project.
Yes, the septic system will be utilized to handle the flow coming out of the in-law apartment.
Okay, but you don't see that there's any need to redo the system? It's fine the way it is?
I think it was sized appropriately for the bedroom count.
Okay.
You
Well,
find
that's something that ultimately the Board of Health will have to determine whether they believe that that's the case or not. But at this point, it's not being proposed to be redone. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So with that, I would recommend the approval of the project with a negative determination number 2.
Thank you. Brad, anything else to add?
No, that basically covers it. There is the minor grading includes about at most 1 foot of fill around the nearest garage walls, and then it tapers down. So it's very minimal fill required. And that's it.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Mary?
No question at this time, once the Board of Health has been notified.
Brad?
Can you say that again? I didn't hear you.
If the Board of Health was notified about the, any upgrade was needed or not.
We'll file an application with them, but it wasn't, we didn't think it was necessary at this time.
Thank you. They heard that. Good. Sorry, David,
No questions.
Alyssa.
I sort of have questions as far as the number of rooms in this addition as well. There are 3 bedrooms in the regular house, and how many will be in the addition? How many rooms are in the addition?
I don't know the makeup of the floor plan on the addition, but
Yeah.
it's the bedroom count will be whatever the septic system's designed for will be it won't be increased. The bedroom count won't be increased.
the bedroom account won't be increased, but you're making an in-law apartment?
Yep. So that it could,
Large enough to sleep there?
could involve removing a room in the existing dwelling.
Could involve.
Yeah. But again, this will be through the Board of Health. Well, it's a permit through the Board of Health.
Right. It's just sort of something, being in a flood zone and so on and so forth. I just was curious as to how this is going.
Yeah. And the only work in the flood zone is where the garage is.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is outside of the flood zone and outside of jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission.
Hey, Jim, any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Mike, any questions?
No questions.
How many trees have to come down, Brad?
As I'm aware, probably a couple
I-
shrubs around the structure. There's already a garage there, so they're taking the garage down and rebuilding it.
I take that back. The trees that will come down are outside the flood zone, so I'm sorry about the question. Is there anybody on the call that would like to have a question for or against this project? Hearing none?
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion to close the hearing. I have a second. All in favor? Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, the hearing is closed. Somebody, I need a motion to do a -2.
Motion to approve with a -2 determination.
I have
Second.
a motion. I have a second. All in favor? Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. So Brad, as always, get to Dave before you start the project, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next one.
Next one is for Mario. Notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. on the notice of intent for Mario Signore, trustee of Isabel V. Signore Living Trust, care of GAF Engineering, Inc., 266 Main Street, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571, to upgrade a sewage disposal system with a new septic system located on Assessor's Map 35, Lots 4 and 1007C, 91 Edgewater Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Anybody here for this project?
Yes, Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
Thank you. Mr. Bichette?
Yes, so this project site is at 91 Edgewater Drive, and the project involves a septic system upgrade in the buffer zone to a coastal bank and a salt marsh, and also within a coastal flood zone. So there's an existing system that's to be replaced with a new Title V nitrogen-reducing septic system. The new leach field would be approximately 95 feet from the edge of the marsh and is within flood zone AE elevation 15. There will be some grading around the leach field as shown on the site plan. Hay bales and silt fence will be installed between the work and the resource areas. We did get a DEP file number for this project, so I would recommend the approval of the project with the issuance of the order of conditions with the standard conditions for the project.
Thank you. Anybody here for this project?
Yes, Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
Yes, so this project site is at 91 Edgewater Drive, and the project involves a septic system upgrade in the buffer zone to a coastal bank and a salt marsh, and is within flood zone AE elevation 15. There will be some grading around the leach field as shown on the site plan. Hay bales and silt fence will be installed between the work and the resource areas. We did get a DEP file number for this project, so I would recommend the approval of the project with the issuance of the order of conditions for the project.
Brian, is there something you'd like to add?
No, nothing to add.
Questions from the board? Mary,
No question.
David,
No questions.
Alyssa,
No questions.
Jim? There's a lot of noise. I hope somebody will mute themselves if they're not speaking. Jim, I didn't hear your response.
Oh, I'm fine with this.
Okay, Mike, any questions?
No questions.
Sandy, no questions, so. Is there anybody in the audience would like to speak for or against this project? Seeing none?
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion from Jim to close the hearing. Alyssa seconded. All in favor? Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, the hearing is closed.
I move that what's the word I'm looking for? I move that the
Standard.
motion be granted with a, I believe it has a negative, no. Does it have -2
Nope.
with it? No. nothing.
Nope,
This is
standard
an
order of conditions.
Oh, we don't have to do that. Okay,
So you're gonna, the motion is for an order of conditions with the standard conditions.
aha, all right. Motion is for an order of conditions with the standard conditions.
Second.
There, and David did a second. All, in favor? Mary,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Jim,
Yep.
Sandy. Yes. So, Brian, you got it. See Dave before you start the work.
Okay, thank you.
All right, down to continued hearings. We have repurposed properties. Is there anybody here for this project?
They sent me an email requesting a continuance on this hearing to our next meeting on July 1st. So I would recommend a continuance till July 1st.
So moved.
I need that motion.
Just see if there's anybody here for that hearing.
Oh, for that particular hearing, the repurposed property hearing? Seeing no one, hearing no one,
So I
I need a
can,
motion.
I move that we continue the hearing till July 1st.
Second.
I heard the second. All in favor? Mary,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Jim.
Yep.
Yes, so the hearing, this is continued until July 1st. The next hearing is the amended order of conditions for Barry Cosgrove. Anybody here for this particular project?
Yes, Richard Rayom, Prime Engineering, who prepared the plans here.
And I'm Barry Cosgrove, the
Richard, okay. Okay. Mr. Bichette, would you like to speak to the project, please?
Yes. Let me just get this up here. Okay, so this project site is at 49 Blackmore Pond Circle. And this is a site where we had previously issued an order of conditions to add a garage and an addition to the existing dwelling, and also to put a new foundation under the existing dwelling. So we had issued an order of conditions for that particular project. the applicant is now requesting an amended order of conditions because it was determined that they did not want to utilize the existing home, meaning raise it up and build the foundation under it and then set it back. Instead, they just want to remove the entire house and build a brand new house along with the garage and addition that we previously approved. So the footprint of the foundation is the same as we had previously approved. It's just that instead of raising and lowering the existing home, they're now going to remove the existing home and just build a brand new one on top of the same foundation footprint. And this is in the buffer zone to Blackmore Pond. They did keep the work outside the 30-foot no activity zone as we had requested previously. So again, given that the footprint's the same as we approved previously, I would recommend that the commission grant the amendment to the order of conditions based on this revised plan.
Richard, anything to add?
No, I think Dave did a spectacular job of presenting this.
Did I hear that Barry was on the line? Did you want to add something?
Looks like
Hey.
he's muted.
I apologize. I was slow on muting. The only thing I'd add is that I'm sorry for all of you for the loss of your friend and colleague.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's going to be sorely missed. Questions on the board? Mary,
No question on the following the same footprint.
David,
No questions.
Alyssa,
No questions?
Jim,
No questions.
Michael.
Questions?
My only question, has the Historic Commission been spoken to about demolishing this house?
I don't believe so.
How old is the house?
Barry, do you know how old the house is?
I believe it was built in 1950, I think. I can double check that, but I want to say 1950, 1945.
No, that's fine. I think the demo is for what, 75 years? So never mind. So there's no more questions on here. Is there anybody on the line that would like to add comments to this project? I'm hearing or seeing none.
I move to accept the amended OOC.
Sorry, David, I need to close the hearing first.
Oh, sorry. Hey, I thought I was being efficient.
Thank you, David.
Well,
Motion to close the
Close
hearing.
the hearing. Sorry.
Jim Beach, Jim is motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, Mary,
Yes,
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Jim,
Yep.
Sandy. Yes, the hearing is closed. Now, David, your turn.
Now I move to accept the amended OOC.
second the motion.
And Jim seconded. All in favor, Mary,
Yes,
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Sandy. Yes, it is approved. And before you start the work, see Dave for the paperwork, okay?
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
comments. Next one. Guy Campina, is there anybody here for this particular project? I didn't see Russ.
Yeah, he's on there.
David? He is?
Yep. We're not hearing you though, Russ.
Yeah, mute. Here we go. How about now?
Yep, now we got you.
In here. Okay, I believe we were looking for the coastal bank to be added to the plan. Mr. Bichette, you want to speak to the project?
Sure, I'm just gonna pull the plan back up here.
As you're doing that, again, I want to make it a statement that I am a elected sewer commissioner, and I work with this project, and I work with Russ and Guy Campina, and I have no financial input or financial, what do you want to call it, from this project. So just wanted to make it clear.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the last meeting, first of all, this project involves the improvements to the sewer treatment plant by the installation of some basins to handle additional flow from the treatment plant. And we, at the last meeting, decided that we needed some additional information to be shown on the plan in terms of the coastal bank. So I'll let Russ speak to that particular issue and any other questions that the commission has.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Not
Okay.
not you, Russ. We're,
No,
we're
not
talking,
30, not
we're
30
talking to
December,
another
right?
Russ.
Okay, the other Russ. Okay.
And I'm not hearing him.
Hold on, let me see. He might be having trouble with his audio. Is showing that he's connecting, but he's not. I'm not getting the audio. Let's give him a second, see if it clicks in. Yeah, he's giving me the hold here. Hold on. I think he might be trying to reconnect.
Yeah, because I don't see him on there at all. There
Yeah,
he is.
there he is.
I see him. Hi, Russ.
How's that, everybody?
Now we can hear you. We're good.
Good. I apologize about that.
That's all right.
I guess, Dave, question for you. Did you get the revised plan that Craig from our office had sent down to you?
I don't recall getting that. No. Did he email it or did he send a hard copy?
He did. It was the day of the, it was actually 1 week ago today.
1 week ago today?
It was, yeah, last Wednesday. I'm going to see if I can pull it up real quick and resend it to you.
Well, I'll look while you can talk about the project because I have my emails up.
Sure, okay. So the project itself, again, what's happening here? Bear with me 1 second. I got to get back to the meeting here. Good. Okay. So what's happening at the water pollution control facility is the plant itself is designed to treat 2 million gallons a day, and they get periods of high flow, as high as 6-7 million gallons a day. A lot of that is inflow and infiltration after rain events. A lot of sump pumps are tied in. So what happens when the plant gets flows that high is that the excess flow goes into 2 existing lined equalization lagoons. However, those can only hold so much. So over the last few years, we have seen an increase in flow to the plant And those lagoons, the existing lagoons, have come dangerously close to overtopping, which would make a giant mess around the treatment facility. So what the WPCF has to do when that happens is divert flow into a unlined, depressed area on the treatment plant. So it's partially treated wastewater that gets deposited there. It soaks into the ground and eventually into the groundwater table. But that is their last resort. EPA, DEP are well aware of this happening over at the treatment facility, as is the Board of Selectmen. There's been numerous presentations. So we wanted to look to utilize the area that they're discharging this partially treated wastewater to put a liner down, basically to prevent that from going into the groundwater table, then right into the river, which is close by. We have to site it. We tried to site it as far away from Linwood Ave as we can, just to create some distance between the new basins and the residents. The entire limit of work is within a previously developed area, so we are not taking down any trees, anything of that nature. It's a straight shot for construction equipment to come in and out of there. Obviously, we'll put up the erosion control between the work and the resource areas. So with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Okay. Ms. Bichette, did you want to comment on the project?
No, I did find the revised plan, which I have up on the screen now, and it does show the top of the bank on that. So that was the only question I really had. We do have a DEP file number for the project, so I would recommend the issuance of the order of conditions for the project with the added conditions that both hay bales and silt fence be used for erosion control at the site, and that if there is any excess material, that it either be hauled off the site or stored in an upland portion of the site.
Sorry, I'm writing as fast as I can.
That's all right.
Okay, for questions. Mary, any questions?
No, I think my questions were answered.
David?
No, no questions.
Alyssa?
No, no question.
Jim?
Nothing, please.
Michael?
No questions.
Sandy? Surprise everybody, no questions. Is there anybody?
I just had one other, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was going to mention, I just was curious about the erosion controls, but Dave already answered it. So I'm good. So go ahead,
Okay.
Sandy.
Is there anybody on the call to speak to, for, or against this project? David, are you seeing anybody?
No.
All right.
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. We have a motion in favor. Mary?
Seconded.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, the hearing is closed.
I move that we accept the motion with hay bales and silk bags. What are they called? Silk fences. Is that what I do?
Yes, the motion to grant the order of conditions with the standard conditions plus the erosion control and the other condition about the removal of the soils.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second by David. All in favor, Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Done deal. So Russ, before you start any work, contact Mr. Bichette.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Next one, Russell Moto.
Motto.
Anybody here for this particular project? Huh?
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Thank you.
Russell Motto.
Mr. Bichette will read. Okay, Russell.
I'm listening in. Brad will take
Mr.
it.
Bichette will read to the project.
Yeah, I'm just getting the plan up here so we can look at it. Okay, so the project site is at 30 East Central Ave in Onset. And this project involves the construction of a single-family dwelling in the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland and a coastal bank at this site. A 26 by 26 foot dwelling is proposed. And the limit of work is basically right at the 30-foot no activity zone line. So you can see the deck is basically right at that line with the sonotube footings that would hold the deck up. There is some grading proposed on the site as shown. And I think Brad mentioned at the last meeting that'd be just over 200 yards of fill that would be needed to accomplish those grades. At the last meeting, I had a question about the site in terms of filling that is obviously taken place on the site and how long that might have been there. I did research some older aerial photographs, and it does look like the site's been kind of in that condition for some time, so it's not recent fill material. We do have a DEP file number for the project. This is a very tight site, so I believe it meets the standard, so I would recommend the approval of the order of conditions, but with the condition that there's not going to be any expansion allowed beyond the limit of work line that's shown on the plan that we approve.
Brad, anything to add?
No, that basically spells out the project.
Okay, questions from the board. Mary,
No question.
David,
No.
Alyssa,
No questions.
Jim,
Nothing. Thank you.
Michael,
No questions.
Sandy, yes. Between the 30-foot no work zone and the wetland line, it says an existing lawn exists. Is that correct?
Yes, this site was part of the dwelling that's located just to the east. It was a larger lot that was subdivided many years ago. So it was a lot that the property owner utilized for the most part, the entire property. And that's portion of the buffer zone, or the current 30-foot no-touch zone, is currently lawn area. And then there's a portion of it that's still wooded or covered with invasive species.
Okay, is that lawn area currently maintained?
It looks like it's mowed like a typical lawn.
The answer is yes, it is. There's actually like a vegetable garden in here and so forth. So yeah, it is actually maintained at this point.
Do the new owners expect to expand the use in that 30-foot work zone?
They're not expecting to expand anything. Obviously, they'd prefer to leave it as is, where the current lawn is.
Okay, so the lawn will stay. Will the vegetable garden stay the same size?
I don't know if that would stay or not. I guess that would be up to the applicant. He may take it out or just leave it.
I
But,
am very, okay, I am very concerned that the steps are right there at 30-foot no work zone, but it's existing lawn. There is a vegetable garden. It's just that there'll be no more changes in that 30-foot zone. That's part of the conditions we're about to put down. Does the homeowner want to speak to that?
Yeah, no, we would leave things the way they are, except for the mowing. That's what we planned on doing, so it doesn't get overgrown. But other than that, no expansion.
Okay, thank you. That was my questions. Is there anybody on the line that would like to speak for or against this project? I don't see or hear anybody. I need a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have closed the hearing. I have a second. In favor, Mary,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Kim,
Yep.
Sandy. Yes, the hearing is closed.
So,
So,
Have at it.
we move to approve the project with the stipulations of not increasing the garden or the land development towards the buffer zone. Is that correct?
The standard
Yes.
order of conditions with the standard order of conditions.
With the standard order of conditions, correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I see a second?
Yes.
Second for David. Just before I do a vote, I want to make sure that the owner knows that the standard order of conditions means that the fertilizer must be low nitrogen. When you're going to fertilize that area, you got to be very, very careful what you put down. Low nitrogen. Okay, so now that we'll take a vote. Mary,
Yes.
David,
yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy. It is approved. And Brad and Russell, before you do anything, get to Dave for the paperwork before you start anything, all right?
Yep.
Will
Thanks
do.
a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next hearing is a Brian McLean. Anybody here for that project?
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Thank you. Mr. Pichette will speak to the project.
I don't know.
Did we
if you
lose
heard-
David?
I think so.
No, I'm here. I'm just getting the plan pulled up here.
I believe we're for the DEP.
Yes. Yeah, so this site is at 38 Agawam Drive, and this project involved a septic system upgrade. The existing cesspool that you see on the water side of the house right here is to be abandoned and filled in, and a new septic system is being proposed up between the house and the street. Obviously, it's in the furthest place it can be away from the pond. And at the last meeting, we had continued the hearing because we did not have a DEP file number, which we do now have. So I would recommend the approval of the project with the standard conditions for this upgrade.
Brad, anything to add?
No, that basically covers it. We were just waiting for the file number. And
Okay.
I don't recall any questions at the last hearing.
Mary, questions?
No question.
I heard Jim. Mary, any questions?
No.
David,
No.
Lissa,
No.
I heard Jim.
No.
See, Michael, any questions?
No.
Sandy, no questions. Anybody on the line that would like to add or question for or against this project? Comments?
I move to close the hearing.
Second.
Thank you. And David seconded. All in favor? Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Andy? Yes, the hearing is closed.
Motion to approve with standard conditions?
Second the motion.
I have motion to move. Who seconded?
Me.
Me.
Oh, Mary.
This is seconded. All in favor? Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. Approved. So Brad, before you start any work, see Dave on it, okay?
Will do. Thank you.
You,
Yay. We're down. Oh, next hearing, Thomas Parento. Did I get it right?
Yep.
Did I get?
You're good.
Tom, anybody here, particular project?
Yes, Brian Grady with GAF Engineering.
Thank you, Mr. Bichette. We'll speak to the project.
all right. Just getting this up here on the screen. Okay, so this project site is at 13 over Jordan Road. And this project involves the construction of an access driveway to the new home and also to a proposed storage barn that's located at the back of the property. And this is within the buffer zone to wetlands and also within a coastal flood zone. A 50 by 100 foot storage building is proposed in the far back corner of the property. This is within flood zone AE elevation 15. And it is within the buffer zone to the wetland, approximately 65 feet away or so from the edge of the wetland. Also, as part of this project, at the last meeting, we had asked for better detail in terms of plantings that were required to address a violation that occurred up in this portion of the property up here, where vegetation was removed or cut within the wetland itself and also in the buffer zone to the wetland. So we have gotten a revised plan, which now indicates that this area here is going to be replanted. And this up in the top here is a detail of the planting scheme. And these are the proposed plantings on this section here. So
Thank you for making it bigger.
yeah, I know it's a big plan, so I'm just trying to get it so people can read it here. So we also had asked that, or I had asked to include more shrubs instead of just ground cover plants. And so they did make that change as well in terms of the planting scheme, as you can see by the plants listed and the numbers of plants and so forth. So I'm definitely happier about what they've shown at this point, and would recommend that the commission can move forward with the approval of this. And I believe a fine should be issued also, since we had this violation that occurred. So in terms of an order of conditions, I would recommend the issuance of the order of conditions with the standard conditions and the added conditions that the planting scheme that's been presented be followed and put in place within the next available growing season. Obviously, right in the middle of the summer may not be the best time to try to establish plantings, but certainly towards the end of the summer, fall, there's no reason why this work can't be done. If the owner wants to do it now, that's fine, but it will require a bit of irrigation to keep things healthy as far as I'm concerned, except for those in the wetlands, which obviously should do okay. Additional conditions would be that no further work be done outside the approved limit of work that we first established in the first place. And the same would be true for around the proposed barn area, that the limit of work be maintained and not encroached upon beyond what's shown on the plan.
Thank you, Brad. Anything, Brian, anything to add? Sorry.
No, nothing to add.
I do like the choice of bushes. Some of them are my favorite. But that's beside the point. Questions by the board, Mary?
If they have got a good selection there and go along with the standard fine for the infringement that they made.
Okay. David?
That's a question actually for Dave. We're just gonna do the standard $300 fine? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, bushes look great. I'm glad they're doing that. That's certainly an added benefit there.
Alyssa?
I think the bushes are great too. I just am curious, David, did we say anything about the roadway that they're putting in or the driveway? Was there any comment on that at all?
Not really. They're proposing a gravel driveway. So I would say I didn't have any issues with that. And maybe that should be an added condition that may be maintained as a pervious surface as we go forward, unless somebody wants to come back in with another application to the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Jim?
Nope, I'm good.
Michael?
I'd just like to say I like the choice of the bushes as well. And no comments is here.
Okay. So I have no questions. Is there anybody online that would like to speak for or against this project?
Motion to close.
I have a motion to close. Thank you. Second, right, Jim? All in favor, Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, the hearing is closed. Someone want to take a shot at the order of the order of conditions? The list?
The list would be the plantings to be done as shown on the project map, and that the driveway remain a pervious surface, that the what did we have with the building?
We had that the limit of work be maintained.
That the limit of work be maintained. Anything else?
$300 fine.
Thank you. Okay, so I move that those conditions continue. Sandy, did you get those down?
Yes, I did. They're right there.
All right.
And the one more thing to add, that the planting be done no later than the next growing season.
That's very true.
Second the motion.
That's the motion. I heard a second by Jim, right? Yes. All in favor, Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. Done. approved. $300 fine, order of conditions. So Brian, please see Dave before you start any of the work.
Certainly.
At our June 3rd meeting, we continued the hearing for the municipal maintenance and the standpipe. It did not make this agenda, so it needs to be posted for July 1st,
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
I understand municipal maintenance did provide us with a plan in which they were going to take absolutely everything down on the underbrush, so that Dave and I need to speak with municipal maintenance and Bob regarding this particular project, because I'm not happy with everything on that little hill being cleared. Dave, want to add anything?
I don't think so at this time. You know, as we said, we got a revised plan, but there were just some note changes. The plan itself really didn't change appreciably. So we can discuss it, what they've shown on the 1st when it's back in front of us, and go from there.
Is there anybody online that came on here for this hearing? Since we continued it last time?
Hi, I did.
I'm here. Who's I?
Hey, that's sorry, Holly Haratunian. I was here for that.
Okay, so Holly, there's no discussion on that particular one in here. It did not make the agenda, so we will bring it up on July 1st.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next we have enforcement orders. Mr. Bichette, your favorite. Is Kenny Keegan on the line?
Or a representative? Does not appear so.
So at the meeting on June 8th, was he notified that he had a deadline for removing stuff by the 23rd?
Yes, he was. And so obviously we haven't reached that date yet. I happened to drive by there today and the shed was still there. So he hasn't moved it as of right now. So we'll give him till the time frame. And if the time isn't met, then I'm just going to start firing off the fines as we voted.
Yes, we voted that he had until June 23rd to remove the stairs, the fire pit, and the shed, and there'll be a fine every day after the 23rd. Those items are not done. Were you able to find out what company he had talked to about replanting the marsh grass?
No, I requested that information, but he has not gotten back to me with that.
Okay.
Dave, has he done anything?
No.
Nothing. Oh.
No, he did contact me after the last meeting and apologize for missing the last meeting. And so I emailed him back and basically explained what the commission's vote was. And I have not received any response from him at this point since then.
Okay.
David, may I ask you to speak to the committee so they know why he appealed our fine and he won and didn't have to pay? I just want the committee to know why we as a commission missed the hearing. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, so when we issue a fine to someone and they want to appeal it, they appeal it to the district court, which is up on Route 28 there, just before you get into Rochester. And the clerk magistrate then hears the case and decides whether or not the person should pay the fine or whether they shouldn't. In this particular instance, where we had issued the fine, instead of notifying my office, the Department of Natural Resources office was contacted. And so we were not aware of the fact that there was going to be a hearing on it. And so I didn't show up, and therefore the clerk magistrate basically agreed that he didn't have to pay the fine. So I'm in contact now with the court to try to get that straight, so that if we run into this circumstance again, that we are made aware directly of hearing times and dates, so this doesn't occur again.
Thank you. The next enforcement order, Job's Island.
Yes, this is for Boone Ferry. Is anybody on the line for that? Does not appear that we have someone on the line for this as well. I did speak to this gentleman about the meeting and explain the circumstances. I thought that he would be at this particular meeting because he explained that last meeting he had a prior commitment and couldn't make it and would be at this meeting. But we did speak, and he did tell me that he does have an engineer on board and is preparing a notice of intent to address the violation and to propose some additional things that he wants to do. He has not done any further work since we gave a cease and desist previously, and so he wants to proceed and continue to be able to do things. So he does have an engineer that's in the process of putting together an application for him, though I don't know specifically how far along they are, and I was hoping that the owner would be able to discuss that with us tonight, but obviously he's not here. So I can just put it back on the agenda, these two items for, well, certainly the first one we did is going to be on for the next meeting, and this one should be as well, since we really have had no interaction at this point. Well, at meetings, I should say. I've had interactions by phone and by email with some of these individuals, but not here at the meetings.
Okay. Certification of compliances.
These first two that are on the list are for a site that's at 3 Sias Point Road. And these orders of conditions were for an addition. One of them was for, and the other one was for a septic system upgrade. And those are completed according to the orders of conditions. So I would recommend the issuance of the certificate of compliances for both of those on that one property.
Okay, I will take a motion on both properties.
So moved.
On both orders, on both certificates, that is.
I have a motion.
Second.
Heard a second. All in favor, Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim? Sandy?
Yes, although I can't hear you. Yes, Jim, I can't hear you. That's all. It's breaking up a little.
So we're set on. Mr. Bichette, the next one.
Okay, the next site is at 19 Mayflower Ridge. And this project also involved septic system upgrade, which has been completed. So again, I would recommend issuance of the certificate of compliance for this project as well.
I move that we issue the certificate of compliance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, Mary?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes,
Sandy? Yes. I'm not going around asking questions, so if you have a question, speak up, because I don't want to go through this name again, list of names one more time. Okay, next one.
The next one is a really old order that existed on this property at 97 Edgewater Drive. It's just a project that was done in the late 80s, and they just never got the certificate of compliance for it. And so this was for an addition, and so I would recommend the issuance of that certificate of compliance as well, just to clean up the old filing.
I wonder why he came back after that length of time.
They might be selling it.
Well, the issue is that the property is being sold, and so when the attorneys did their research, they found that this old order was outstanding and hadn't been released, and so they're just trying to clean up the old paperwork, basically, is all it is.
I had a feeling you're going to tell me that.
Isn't it Mary Ann Patrick's house?
You got it. You got it. Sorry, I'm going to miss Bill in his little Mini Cooper. Okay. Approvals. Mary.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Elissa.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Sandy. Yes. All right.
I move that we issue the certificate of compliance to
That's
Philip.
what we voted on.
Oh, we did. That wasn't just closing. All right, time for me to go to bed.
Mr. Bichette, on the next agenda, which is July 1st, correct?
Yes.
Can you put on the officer, the clerk, chair, co-chair, vice chair, chair and vice chair vote?
Yes. Yes, I can certainly do that. Before we end, there was one other quick matter I wanted to bring up, Sandy, which was that letter of support for the Parker Mills Dam project.
Oh, that was
grant.
On my list to them about it. Go ahead.
Okay, so the town is putting forth a grant application for a project that would seek to remove the dam at the Parker Mills Pond, okay, where Tremont Nail Factory is. And so as part of the grant application, they are asking for letters of support from certain bodies, one of which is the Conservation Commission. So the objective is to try to return the stream to its natural conditions by removing the dam structure and returning the normal flow without having to have the dam or fish ladders or anything like that for anadromous fish to move up and down the waterway. So that's what the project proposes. And of course, if that is ultimately done, then you're not going to have Parker Mills Pond exist the way it currently does anymore. It's going to be much reduced in size and sort of revert to more of a stream/river characteristic. So that's what the proposal is. And I just wanted the commission to be aware of that and to decide if you want to support or vote to issue the letter of support for the grant application.
Any comments from anybody? Just speak up.
David, behind that dam, what's in that water behind the dam? Is there a lot of pollution, right, that is built up since there were manufacturing companies further upriver, I think? So is this going to be an influx of dangerous materials or materials which aren't good for the environment?
Potentially, yes, but we don't know the answer to that yet. This project is going to have to, if it progresses, is going to have a public hearing with us as one permit granting authority. So we'd have a notice of intent submitted, and we could ask all these detailed questions during the public hearing. But there are a lot of other entities that are going to be reviewing this, and these issues have to be addressed before the project would ultimately be approved. So that is a very good question, and those types of questions are going to have to be explored and answered before anything gets fully approved to go forward.
Historically,
Wait a minute.
how long has that dam been there?
That's a good question. I don't actually know the answer to that question. Maybe Sandy, who's got a little better knowledge of the history, would know.
I'm going to read from a project description I received. There is no record of the original construction of the dam or any subsequent repairs or other work performed at the structure available for review during the preparation of this report. It is assumed that the dam was built in mid-1800s in conjunction with the construction of the mill building. That's the best I got. Previous inspection reports indicate that a fish ladder was originally constructed in 1952 and rebuilt in 1975. That's what the report says. And honestly, folks, this is one of the most dangerous dams in the state.
In what way, Sandy?
That it's subject to failure.
So at this point, what you're saying is that the dam is unstable?
It's really, I can't say it's unstable, but it certainly is high on the priority list to get it removed because of it. I mean, I would not trust to stand down on a heavy rain.
It's designated by the state as a high hazard dam. So it's on their list of sites that the structure is not in good condition and is basically been either ordered to be repaired or removed. So, you know, those are the two options you have. But the state has recognized it as a structure that is not in good condition.
Now, keep in mind that you have Elm Street, which has been closed, which runs on top of the dam. So that puts the complexity at it. But I strongly recommend that we support the application form for a grant. Any other comments? I'm going to ask for a vote for support of the, to support for the project. Mary?
Vote the project, yes.
David?
Yes, I do.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sandy, yes. Michael, did you have any questions?
So we're gonna be able to see an NOI on this, or notice of intent, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So we'll be able to see the environmental details about it, and I could be able to ask further questions.
Yeah, so again, at this point, to be clear for everybody, all we're doing at this point is submitting a letter of support so that the town can apply for a grant. We're not saying we approve the project or anything because we haven't even seen a plan yet to get a sense of how this is going to be done or whatnot. We're just trying to support the general concept, but certainly we need to know all the details prior to a formal approval. So we will see this in front of us as a notice of intent if the town at some point decides to move forward with permitting.
Right. Do we have anything on the Anderson property where they built that seawall without permission? Has anything happened on that? I know she's back up here for the season.
Yes, GAF is currently working on putting together the notice of intent for that application, but I just don't think they have it quite complete yet. But I know they've been contracted to work on it.
Hi, Dave. This is Brian.
Oh, Brian's here. He can comment, hopefully.
Yeah, we have been contracted. We've been working on it, but you know, we've been shut down, just back to work full time last week. So we've put it back in the queue of work to complete. Yes. But before I finish, I will be in touch with you, maybe to do an on-site. I think you remember our early discussions about maybe how to handle this. So I'll be in touch before I finalize plans and the notice.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
Just two more things. What about the tree clearing on cutting on Oak Bluffs, Onset Bluffs? Anything on that one?
Nothing on it as of yet. So no, I don't have any new info as of this moment.
Actually, if you don't mind, I got a question. I'm sorry, Sandy, go ahead.
Michael, you froze.
No, I thought I cut you off there. My apologies. I was driving by it yesterday. It looked like those trees may have been removed. The ones that were cut down,
Yeah.
or at least a couple of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that myself. It looks like that someone kind of either removed or cut up and threw them down the bank. I didn't really stop to take a close look, but the ones that were probably interfering with the view the most, they've kind of moved those. Whoever, I don't know who did it. I don't think the town did it, but I think some folks probably went over there and did it. But again, you know, we really have to get some way of trying to identify these activities because it's just getting out of hand. I just got another report this afternoon that some cutting was done on North Water Street, you know, on the side of the Stone Bridge on the other side of the river. So in that property, I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't the land trust take that property over?
It's owned by the Wareham Land Trust, and I'm the steward for that property. And I reported vista pruning last fall, and so there's been more of it.
Yep.
A house went on the market.
Yeah, this just got reported to me this afternoon. So we were given a home address of who they think, you know, did this. So obviously I have to look into that. But yeah, that's a brand new thing. And this has been a problem in and around the Bluffs for a while now. You know, you get these episodes and people just go out and do whatever as though it's their own land, you know?
Yep. Because the last time they cut all the vista pruning, the house went on the market and everything in front of the house in the water got cut down. David, I keep getting an email for, I think it's Millard Street regarding a certification of compliance.
Yeah,
One came by on Friday, they were closing.
Yeah, we've sent that to them, so they should have that by now. I think they might have just gotten it as the day after they sent the email.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? I am done with my notes.
I have a question. I don't know if this goes within the meeting or I should just wait. I'm just wondering if there's going to be any service for Kenny.
I've seen nothing.
I've seen nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen anything on that as of yet myself. So yeah, I don't have any new information on that. Brian, are you still on the line for a particular matter?
Yeah, Dave, I thought we were going to discuss that minor shift for 13 over Jordan.
Okay, yeah, so this is something I probably should have brought up during the hearing for that 13 over Jordan where we had the replanting and so forth. They did want to shift the house slightly from the location that we had previously approved. It's in my opinion a very minor shift, but they just wanted to make the point so that when they came back for the certificate of compliance and it wasn't in the exact location that we had originally approved, that they wouldn't get in trouble. But what was the distance, Brian, that it was going to move?
It's about 22 feet. It's no closer to any resource areas. It's actually maybe a foot further away. So there's no additional impacts whatsoever.
Let me just pull that plan up again real quick so we can point that out of what the change is. Hold on.
While he's doing that, is there anybody available on Thursday morning-ish, 10-ish or 9 to come sign paperwork? We got a lot to sign. We need at least 4 signatures.
You're talking this Thursday?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
And at 9? With the
David
flight
is 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 would be fine. Between 9 and 9:30, whenever people want to come is fine. It doesn't have to be a fixed hard time.
Just call David. He'll come out with the paperwork.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Are you there like at 12:30, David, or no?
Yeah, I could be there for around that time. That's fine.
I just will be going by, I think, at that time.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll be around. So just give me a call and we'll try to connect up.
Okay, that sounds good.
So Brian, in terms of this plan, from my recollection of the discussion, the house was moved from kind of over here and shoved kind of in this direction.
Correct. It went in an upward direction to the north or to the top of the page.
Yeah,
Shift in that direction.
So the
Correct.
original footprint sat kind of like right here in this
Correct.
location.
Right.
And so it got shifted to this location. So it just got sort of pushed this way somewhat. So is the commission comfortable with that sort of a thing?
Mary, all right? David, all right?
Hey, why'd they move it? Just curious.
Well, it gets a little bit further away from the woods.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Alyssa?
Yes.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, so that change then will just be reflected in once the project is done and they submit a request for a certificate of compliance. So Brian, this plan that we approved today shows the readjusted location already?
Correct. What's shown on this plan is the adjusted location. Correct.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine then. I don't have any further comment, Sandy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you all. And I just want to say how sorry I am about Kenny. That was a terrible shock and tragedy.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
It's sad. I see Jim Muniz still online. Is there anything you wanted to add, Jim?
Nope. Oh, Jim
You
Muniz?
can take his Muniz. He can take his patch off of his viewer there.
Oh, the black square we have there.
Yeah, and you can maybe ask if there's anybody else who had any further comment before we wrap it up, because there's still a few other people on the line, but they may just be listening in, that's all.
I want to just say that I think you're doing a really good job, Dave, in this difficult sort of time, but I think you're really, doing a great job. Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate that, and the same goes for all of you guys. You guys are doing well dealing with all this stuff too, so I appreciate you're all hanging in and getting the job done. You guys are doing great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see
I'll see
we
you
finally
tomorrow around 9.
I'm glad to see we finally got Mary on the line, so.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just want to say again, it's you guys are well prepared. The presentations are great. Projecting I guess through the whiteboard with a projection on the screen so everybody can look at the same thing, and you're pointing out the areas. That's just a great tool, and I appreciate you doing that, and I hope the other boards adopt that. I guess Dave is kind of pretty good at this stuff, so we appreciate it and appreciate everything you guys do. And again, tragedy about Kenny,
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
That's all I have to say. I'm short and that's it.
Anybody else?
If Sandy or I hear anything, or if anybody else does, maybe we can just circulate an email to everyone to update what we know about any kind of services or donation to a certain organization for Kenny.
There might be something in the Wareham little paper that comes out tomorrow They usually have events like that,
Okay, yeah, we'll be on the lookout.
right?
Did we close the meeting?
Not yet. I'm waiting for comments. Is everybody done? Nothing else? I'll take a motion.
I move we close the meeting.
Second.
We will adjourn the meeting. Oh, there is an article in Wareham. It just says that the alleged driver in the fatal hit and run to be faced 5 charges in Kenny's death.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't see anything. I don't see an obit yet.
Well, they won't. Oh, okay, I was confusing
No.
like a headline with his obituary, but yeah, you're right.
I may, Sandy, see if I can get a hold of John Connolly, because he probably would have more detail.
Yes, thank you. Because John and Kenny worked together for years.
Right.
Years. They were oh, wow. This one still hurts me.
Yeah.
I wasn't here very
I'm
long.
gonna say something.
I just want to say I wasn't here very long, and when I found out the news, I was shocked. So and hurt as well, because I always enjoyed talking to him, going back to late January, February. I can only imagine if everybody had that was that they had known much longer how much painful it's got to be. So I just sincere my deepest condolences, guys. That's got to be awful, absolutely awful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll look out for some obituary information. And you're right, John might have some information, and we'll share when we know. If not, I have the motion to adjourn. I thought I heard a second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks, for a meeting.